Hi, my name is Savannah Ndungu. The critical issue in the arts we'd like to tackle for this project is how women are constantly sexualized and idealized throughout the arts. As a team, my group and I would like to propose the art pieces of high art and popular art to serve as an example of our critical culture issue. This represents not only the lack of female voices and objectification of women, but also shows the prevalence of the female body through conical art pieces. The piece we will be discussing as popular art are magazines, which will be discussed by Ethan. Next, Carson will be going over music, specifically the song Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke. For high art, Grace will be talking about The Three of Hope Remaining Strong by Frida Kahlo. Lastly, Shad will be discussing Portrait of a Young Woman and Child as Venus and Cupid by Peter Lely.
Hi, my name is Ethan Carde, and I will be discussing how magazines play a big part in objectifying and sexualizing women in today's society. Playboy and Sports Illustrated swimsuits play a big role in critical issue. Women tend to dress more provocatively than men in today's world, although some of them don't mean to because the clothes they wear are just today's typical clothing. The over-sexualization of women and even children is happening, and people are okay with it. She's just not your typical 10-year-old. Thailand Blondieu, who modeled in French Vogue magazines, had people confused on what she was doing. Not how you would think a typical 10-year-old would dress. In one photo shoot, she wore cheetah print attire and was surrounded by bunnies laying on a cheetah printed bed. This is not good because bunnies and cheetah print are connected with Playboy and sexualization. I don't know about you guys, but I would not let my 10-year-old daughter dress up and pose like this for a magazine that old men look at. In the Sports Illustrated swimsuit magazine, most of the pictures in it are of women posing in ways to make them look more appealing and attractive, so to say. Women shouldn't be targeted for their bodies to be shown to mass quantities of people. Playboy models tend to get sexualized and objectified more than anyone else. Even if you just look up the name and go to the image, you would know what I was talking about. Just images of women in their bodies, some of which aren't even covered up or blurred out. It's just crazy to me how objectified these women are, and they can't really do anything about it. Even though this is such a bad situation, part of the population gives into this and buys the magazines to look at, which is just horrible.
Hi, my name is Carson, and I will be sharing with you an example of popular art, and Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines is a perfect example. Music is ever-consuming people's lives, and many songs talk about sex, drugs, alcohol, and etc. Yet it is no comparison to Blurred Lines, where Robin Thicke explicitly sexualizes women by showing them off as objects. Coming out in 2013, not only does Robin Thicke make a very over-sexualized song, but a music video that accompanies it. Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines became popular when it hit the radios and the internet for its controversial music video. The most prevalent item in this video is the group of naked women doing various tasks as they walk across the screen. The song became hypocritical as its blurred lines were most definitely not blurred. The lyrics in the song are also of no greater value, as he consistently says, "I know you want it." This shows that he is telling the women what they should want and what they should do, as they are not really given a choice. This is a prime example of how women are being over-sexualized because it is covered up by just a catchy song. One of the featured artists on the song talks more about the subject. He says that he at first saw the lyrics as rapey, but then he also later realized that there are men who use the same language to take advantage of women. Blurred Lines was criticized by some who claimed the lyrics referred to non-consensual sex. The song later became banned in many universities and other various places. One of the models, Emily Ratajkowski, unfortunately gets most of her fame from this music video, as she is topless and completely naked, and you are able to see all of her. Unfortunately, most of the men that saw this music video decided to over-sexualize her and bring her to the top because she decided to pose naked.
Hi, my name is Grace Pendleton, and for this project, I will be discussing Tree of Hope by the infamous Frida Kahlo. For a little background on this piece was created in 1946 and was originally intended for her partner at the time, Eduardo Maria Zappa, after her operation had gone wrong in New York. This painting was a declaration of courage for her, and which inspired Frida to carry on with her surgeries despite the unfortunate circumstances she was in. When viewing this piece, the audience can see two versions of Frida. One that's dressed in red, sitting tall with a back brace in her hand, while the other version of Frida is lying naked on an operating table with a bloody wound going all the way down her back. This imagery depicts exactly what Frida was feeling at the time after her surgeries as she began to lose hope in her recovery. Frida has always challenged the traditional values of women and the role of women in art. As a group, this art piece was chosen to represent the prevalence of women and the female body. Female voice has always been a strong theme throughout Frida's work, and especially in Tree of Hope, where Frida fights the oppression and objectification by showing female nudity, but also the reality and normalization of the female nude body. This painting fights the stereotype of female nudity and the sexualization of the female body. Instead of portraying her nakedness as appeal, she paints the reality of her circumstance, which is graphic and bloody, the exact opposite of sex appeal. So, in conclusion, Tree of Hope portrays Frida's struggle with healing while also battling the stereotype that nudity must be sexual in the art.
Hi, I'm Shad, and the art piece that I'll be discussing today is Portrait of a Young Woman and Child as Venus and Cupid. This art piece was painted in 1675 by Sir Peter Lilly. It's the perfect example of women being objectified in the art community for centuries now. To the normal art novice, this is considered high art due to its visual appeal and detail. This is an oil painting that depicts one of either three women: Barbara Villers, Countess of Castlemaine, and Duchess of Cleveland, or Neil Gwen. It depicts a woman as titled Naked Woman Holding a Child. There are a lot of hundreds of, maybe even thousands of paintings that display this kind of maternal way that men have viewed women for centuries, and it's not singled out to the art community either. It depicts three traits that the art community tends to place women in, basically labeling them first maternal, second vulnerable and strength in a way, and sexualized. So the first maternal, there are countless of paintings, like I said, that depict women and their young child. So the maternal holding of a mother and child, where the man has to view the woman as being a maternal. It's still a way of strength, like I'll discuss later, but that maternal way, or just basically placing women into one category. And the second is vulnerability and strength. So this trait of vulnerability of a woman being naked and alone, well, with a child, but naked and vulnerable in a way in the forest, and just opening up. Basically, the artists have used in the environment and nature as a way of opening up and vulnerability, and also you find that way also with women as well when they do paint it. So you have that trait of vulnerability. And sexualized, of course, we know there's no need for a woman to be naked in the woods. And so you just ask yourself your question, why is she naked in the woods? But again, it's art. It's the art community. So these things aren't really questioned or judged. But it does depict, I guess, Cupid and Venus. That's what it says. But it's just still that sexualization of the naked woman.
As you can see, the over-sexualization of women is at an all-time high in all forms of art. From magazines with Delaine Blondeau in her explicit young pictures in French Vogue magazine, and with all the Playboy and Sports Illustrated magazines just over-sexualizing women and making them seem like objects, to music where lyrics are objectifying the women and making it seem forced, as well as the music video that is made that just straight up shows nudity to the public eye. And then 2, artwork that thankfully gives a stand against the over-sexualization and gives a voice for the women. And then to a just natural painting of a woman with a child and the over-sexualization of the piece itself. Thank you for watching our presentation.